We're here in Orlando at the third pop-up event.
I held the first one.
And I held the second one. Wow, what an exciting event. But first off, I think we really need to say thank you to BG Products.
Absolutely. They bring a lot to our industry, and now here we are in Orlando for the third ever pop-up event and have some of the best names in retail here.
We're going to talk about all these great people at these pop-up events going across the United States, showcasing these wonderful, great dealerships. Aren't you excited, Ed?
I can't wait to get it started.
I can't wait to get it started, too. Here we are in Orlando, third pop-up event. Thank you, Ted Ings, for making this happen.
Welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable pop-up event. This event is exclusively sponsored by BG Products, partners beyond products. Now, on with the live event.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Ted, this has been such an exciting day so far, and this is one of my absolute favorite topics that we're getting ready to discuss, marketing and branding.
You know, Sarah, one of the things that makes the Fixed Ops Roundtable so unique is the spin and the themes that we put on the branding and marketing. And today, in addition to having Ed Roberts and Tully on our panel, we're so grateful to have the marketing genius behind the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Michelle McLean is here with us, and our great friend, Sean Kingery, Vice President of Fixed Operations at the Kaiser Automotive Group. So if you would, Michelle, kind of take us back to the early days of the Roundtable. You got involved, I believe, starting with the second one that we did in California. Take us through that and how it got started.
Sure. You know, it was really funny because I remember having a conversation with you on the phone, Ted, and we were trying to come up with some different ideas for images. And Ted was like, well, I need a roundtable with number 2 and number 3 and number 4. And I said, Ted, you know, I think it'd be really cool if we came up with some different ideas. And so as we began to shift and pivot, starting with the Las Vegas event, I said, why don't we do something called Viva Las Vegas? And, you know, it turned out it was such an incredible event. And, you know, obviously then we had things happen, of course, with the pandemic. The whole world changed. And we also had to change as a company and as the Roundtable. So we made the decision, and it was very instrumental. You know, I had that conversation again, that we were going to move forward in an online realm and continue with our themed events. And I think that it's just been absolutely wonderful. I think we have a whole lot of fun, and it really is something that sets our Roundtable apart from other automotive events. So it's been really exciting to come up with them.
And Michelle, I think that was really a turning point in March and April of 2020. There was a lot of uncertainty in our business.
Absolutely.
And we had to decide whether to kind of put the Roundtable aside for a month or two or to go virtual. And I remember, you know, my idea of the next theme was calling it the virtual event, but you said it's got to be much more than that.
Yeah.
Kind of take us through that, because then we got into Back to the Future and The Greatest Show and so on and so forth.
Absolutely. Well, I think that we can all agree, right? 2020 was definitely the year of Jumanji, right? So many different crazy things were happening and going on in the world. And so I thought, you know, everybody kind of was making jokes on social media about what level of Jumanji are we going to reach this week with this ridiculousness. And so we did a twist on it with the Roundtable. And I think that was probably one of the most out of the box events that we did. We did so many different types of themes and graphics and all types of stuff, different videos. And I think that we really began to bring the Roundtable to life with that event. And, you know, now that we are going forward and the things that we're doing, I think each event that we've done since then has just gotten even bigger and bigger and bigger. It's been a lot more interactive. And now we have people, all of our wonderful, incredible sponsors and guest speakers and hosts now are really getting involved with the event. They're dressing up, and I think we're really doing something that's unique, and it's a whole lot different that people want to be involved with. So I think it's been really exciting.
So, Michelle, we have the anchors of the event, Tully Williams, Ed Roberts, and Sarah with us here today, and we got our Tully buttons. By the way, that's part of the branding and the messaging. Enter Sean Kingery. Sean, how did you get involved with the Roundtable at the inception?
So back in 2020, I was working with somebody who I actually met through your roundtables, was John Fairchild. And John was coming to some of my stores when I was still here in Florida. And he introduced me to you. And that started, like I said, that was over 3 years ago. And, you know, you talk about how you've grown and how you've progressed since then. I remember doing my first panel in my living room against a white wall, spent half of it looking out the window because I was so nervous, drinking Diet Coke every 12 seconds, to wearing wigs and cowboy hats now. So we've obviously progressed a little bit since then.
You know what?
You've
actually moved the needle because you've been involved with the branding. I remember when we came up with the Back to the 80s event, Tully and Ed, you might want to speak to that. We got a text late one night from Sean Kingery on some things that he recommended we wear.
I'll let Sean run with that one.
Well, that's all right. So we were doing a live event on Monday or Wednesday night, and we're literally doing the live event, and I'm sending a text message. Hey, everybody, get on Amazon. You can buy this wig. You can buy this shirt. And literally that same night, we all had the same wig.
We all had it. It was great. Long hang the hat on there, and then we had to get into the moves.
We did.
So I had to let it come from Sean because that's where the personality came from. And we all ended up, he sent the same link out. So we had the same wig, and it was perfect.
We did.
So, Sarah, I know you can speak to that as well because you've been dressed up and worn the wigs back at the Roaring 20s and so on.
Yes. So, I've absolutely loved how the themes have evolved as you continue to build these different events. And it just keeps going more and more as we keep adding things to it. And I think my absolute favorite has been the Roaring 20s because of some of the amazing outfits that some of the people have put together. And, Ed, Tully, with y'all, some of the themes have been really impactful. How have they really impacted you and your organizations as these themes have developed?
It makes it fun. I mean, people want to make the conversation a lot of fun. So all of us have gotten dressed up and we make it more fun. And then, we're waiting for Sean to send us the next link for the next one so we can dress up for the groovy 60s, right? So we can't wait to have fun. And then talk about great stuff about fix ops. What better thing can we do?
They get to relive history a bit, and we get to learn about history and tie those elements together, and that just makes it fun for everybody.
But Ed, it's also been said, what does this have to do with fixed ops? The Roaring 20s, back to the 80s, Jumanji, is that really fixed ops? And, my answer to that is, we've put a different take on fixed ops and made it fun and exciting.
Truly, yes. It's a different take on fixed ops. We are in the people business. And it's all about connecting with people, and everybody's going to connect at a different level. And so we have these different themes. Some will connect a little tighter than others, but it all hits at some point, and it's connecting with people. And we're in the people business, and that's what we should be doing.
So Michelle, speaking to what Ed and Tully and Sean and Sarah have been saying, people have been dressing up for these shows. We've actually had not just Best Practice Awards, but Best Dressed Awards. So Michelle, down the road and in the near future and far future, are the themes going away? Or are we going to continue to expand on that and make them better?
No, we are absolutely going to continue to expand and make them better. I think what's really great is that this is an opportunity for people to step outside of their comfort zones, right? Sometimes it's pushing the bar to the next level and doing something different. I mean, we've all been to all of the different automotive events, and it's usually the same people and the same things and the same lineup. And this really gives people an opportunity to let their personality shine. And so absolutely, we're going to continue with the themes to get bigger and better. And I can't wait to see what we're going to do in the future. So I'll be spinning my wheels after the Fort Stock event to see what we're going to do next. And as always, if you have any creative feedback, we'd love to hear from you. Feel free, you can reach out to myself or Ted and give us your idea for the next event. So it's super fun.
So I have heard when I was at your organization that not only do you embody the theme, but you actually wear that wig throughout the dealerships. You're wearing it all day, walking around with that, and people have come to expect that of you, Tully.
Well, it makes it fun. I mean, there's crazy Tully with about the hour guy, but you know what? Life's too short to be upset and wound up. Let's make it fun, and that's the reason why these things are so much fun to come to now. I mean, I think it's more about the theme than it is what we're talking about sometimes, right? And then, what crazy wig or what crazy costume, it just makes it a lot of fun. And then everybody at work, they love it. And then we take shots, we put them on there, on our TVs for everybody to look at, and then we get people to dress up. I mean, isn't that the coolest thing ever?
And Ed, going back to 2020, the year of the Jumanji, that was the first year that we began with the Tully buttons, all right? Where I was so impressed with the fact that I saw a picture online that you and your staff, there had to be 20, 30 people in that room in Florida, 2,500 miles away from California, were all wearing the Tully button.
That one was easy. There's been some different themes. It's been a little bit tough because I have a glass office, so everybody that comes by can see. And I'm sitting in there with wigs on or costumes on or whatever else, and they're walking by thinking, Ed's fell off a cliff already. It's been fun.
Sean, your feelings on the themes and where we're headed with those as well.
Listen, this business is a grind, and you ask what it has to do with fixed operations, how it's related to fixed operations. The business itself is a grind. Any fun you can twist into it or turn into it, the fun you can have, and again, and I don't need to turn this into this, but you asked what the fixed operations are, the table and the round tables and everything that's brought to me is everybody on the stage. I wouldn't have met any of you. Totally add the relationships and turning the fun side of it. And, no pizza, we all know Marco, and all that stuff. And people talk about it. You go to events, you go to NAD and you walk around and people are, hey, I saw you and I saw your Star Wars stuff. And it's all of that. It's all the themes. It's a big deal.
And you know what, Sarah? Not only, when I first met Ed, he was on the cover of Fix Ops magazine, which he's been several times now. But Sarah, to see you on the cover of Fix Ops magazine, to see Tully on the cover of Fix Ops magazine, and the same thing with Sean Kingery. Michelle, I guess that you're next.
Wow. Where's Ron Overs? I want to be on the cover next.
All right, so the marketing and branding are unique at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We're very grateful to everybody who participates in our events, and so thankful. Here we are at our third pop-up event. A lot more coming up here at the event at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Darren Gresseth, President and CEO of BG Products, and I'm excited to show you why BG Products is the ideal partner for dealerships around the world. For 50 years, BG has led the industry with innovative solutions to automotive challenges, but it takes more than great chemistry to be the industry leader. Today, we have over 50% of the market share among new car dealers in the United States. In fact, an independent study found that 5 out of 6 U.S. dealerships choose BG products over the competition. Our integrity, dedication, and investment in people are at the heart of our continued success. BG maintains the highest standards for quality assurance, environmental management, laboratory competency, and health and safety management through our ongoing certification with ISO. Our BG Proving Ground experts are dedicated to field support and advanced automotive testing. The facility includes 9 full-service automotive bays and 3 dynos, which provide real-time data. This comprehensive testing fuels our constant drive toward innovation. From service and parts managers to service advisors and shop technicians, BG is committed to the ongoing training of automotive professionals. Award-winning digital training solutions like BG Certified, the BG Tech app, and the BG Advisor app are available 24/7 in the palm of your hand. BG reps get first-hand experience through our internal training program called BG University at our headquarters in Wichita, Kansas. These reps in turn provide comprehensive training to your staff in person right on your service drive. 30 miles away, sitting on 40 acres in El Dorado, Kansas, are BG's manufacturing facility, distribution center, and tools and parts warehouse. BG's custom-built, one-of-a-kind manufacturing facility spans the distance of 3 football fields and is where high-quality BG products are manufactured and packaged. Just south of Wichita, in Derby, Kansas, our BG Automation Division and Certified Machine Shop manufacture the BG tools and equipment that are a crucial part of each BG service. BG doesn't stop in Kansas. We provide what no other company in our segment can. Dedicated, full-time BG experts in dealerships across the world on a weekly basis. Our BG distributor network spans the globe and is supported by a hard-working corporate team in the Midwest. With award-winning training, unbeatable customer retention programs, and accessible local BG reps, we ensure that BG distributors have everything they need to support you. BG is your partner beyond products.
Hi, I'm Ted Ings, and I'd like to announce that Quantum 5 is now a certified partner for the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Sarah Van Tyne is here on behalf of Quantum 5, Vice President of Sales. Sarah, congratulations.
Ted, on behalf of Quantum 5, thank you so much for having us. We're excited to be part of this.
Everybody, for more information on the Roundtable, visit us at fixedopsroundtablecertified.com.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Van Tyne here with Ted Ings. Ted, we have an amazing panel today. Looking forward to talking about vehicle reconditioning.
Yeah, and we've got some of the experts here, including Brad Schaefer from Recontract. Brad, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks for having me.
So we've got a lot of perspectives here. I want to go first to Marco for a technician perspective. Marco, reconditioning has been difficult at many, many dealerships. From a technician's perspective, what are some of the challenges that are being experienced?
As a technician, I like to know, where is my next car to work on at? That has been a hard thing to do with vehicles in the CPOs or used car inspection that are being reconditioned, because there's so many factors involved in it, like a rim repair, glass repair, paint repair. I do not really know where this car physically is on my lot. I built my day based on my computer screen, like what parts came in, what OKs do I have. So to have a system that will show me where this car is at physically and where it's at in the repair process, because if the rims were just done, I don't want to put tires on brand new rims. Brand new rims that just got painted. So where are we at time-wise? Where are we at physically-wise? And when can I get the car to go home rich and tired from fixing it?
Phil, you want to do that?
Oh, I just love that. Marco's spot on. But here's the thing with that used cars. Used cars brings a dealership together. Used cars drive sales, parts, and hours in the shop. And what it talks about is what causes that cluster is communication. When the car is bought, how fast can we get that into Marcos's hand to do that quality video inspection? How can we get that done fast? And it's usually because of communication. And what this program can help us with is drive that communication so everybody in the dealer knows where that car is. Our goal is to get cars in and out, parts and labor all together within that 1 to 2 day period, right? That's the goal. And you can't get authorizations. You can't get all that stuff without a program to monitor it. It is a huge deal.
Sean Gangry.
You know, the one thing this tool brings, and communication's key. It's all about communication. We talked about it earlier in an earlier panel. It's silos. This tool breaks down the silos. Service has had the car for 8 days, or pictures has had it for 4 days. It removes that unknown, and it tells you where your breakdown of communication is.
Brad, over to you.
You know, that's the piece of it. I mean, Marco said it uses the DMS to try to track reconditioning. It's so much more than that, right? You do the mechanical piece, and most dealerships can do that okay. It gets lost beyond that. So, then you're dealing with vendors, you're dealing with every person that touches it. Like you said, that the accounting, the parts, the body shop, the vendors, it's the one piece of the dealership that gets lost, and people kind of just give up after a while. I mean, how many years have you had the problem, right? Since you've been in the industry, since you started, right?
And Brad, you saw this years ago because you are the architect who put all this together with Recontract.
I spent 25 years in retail, and the reason this exists today is because I failed at my job for 25 years, right? I couldn't do it. No matter what I tried to do, there was no solution out there that was automated, that allowed the car to go from stage to stage through seamless communication, because you're trying to connect everybody together. And my solution, other solutions, they just need to be able to connect it all together. And if you don't, you're going to consistently have lost cars. And these things are, holding costs. Where are you at on holding costs? What's a car cost you a day?
It's huge. And what's huge about that part of it is, I take it a step further. We talk about 3 days on the lot. At day 5, we cut the bill in half. And when I say cut the bill in half, I cut the labor, I cut the tech time in half. Right. It's amazing how quick you want to see a car go through the system. make it hurt in the pocketbook a little bit.
It's funny. You say 3 days, right?
Yes.
There's not a dealer that we've hooked up to yet that said 3 days, and it actually was 3 days.
Right.
It's typically 6, and if you say you're 6, it's typically 12. It's those cars that get lost that if you don't have a tool that tells you which car you need to focus on, it's a vicious circle of lost revenue from holding costs.
So, Marco, let me come over to you. How do we fix I keep hearing the word communication. How do we fix that communication gap at the retail level, from the technician's perspective? And I'll ask everybody on the panel the same question.
I think that just like with anything else we use in the dealership, that if everybody actually does what they're supposed to, like say a multi-point inspection, whether it's DMS, if you just flag your cars appropriately where you're at, real simple, you sit at your computer anyways, point, click, done. No matter what it is, point, click, done. Is the car on hold for parts? Are we waiting for an okay? Is it at the window shop? If everybody does that, including the technicians, stop being lazy, because at the end, it just comes around and bites you in the butt. That's a given. Every time it happens, it's a boomerang. Stop throwing those boomerangs and just start hitting the right buttons. Everyone in the dealership. That's it.
When you look at the holdup when it comes to the repair side, is everybody says, oh, I got it dialed in. You were exactly right. If you're 2, you're actually 4. If you're 4, you're actually 8. What really boils down is that, 1, the speed to write up the repair order. Now we're tracking from the date of purchase to the RO written. Next is, how fast can we get that inspection done? And here's the most important piece, authorized by the used car manager or whoever's authorizing it, with pictures and video. Here's the deal. We want to be transparent. Have a way to show the transparency. And then after that, then bang, how fast can we get that car done? And goes off to all the cosmetics that need to be done. The key issue is driving the speed, which helps Marco's rich and tired every day. Rich and tired, my friend.
You said from the RO, right? I'm gonna add another piece of this that we find consistently. We're seeing on average between 1 and 3 days on average that people own the vehicles before that RO is even written. So you need to be tracking every aspect of that car from the time you acquire it to the time that car is on the front line and ready for sale, because you'll pick up just a couple of days if you're looking at that piece alone.
And when you say that, is that what happens to a used car manager? They go out there and look at it and say, look at the car I bought. Oh, it's so pretty. And the next day they look at it again. And then they give it to the service department. Give it to us the day they buy it.
Yep.
Sean Gingrey?
You know what? It's the key word that's key to everything in the dealership from all to all. It's accountability. The recon tools are all about accountability. Everybody has to do their job when it comes from the used car manager to the service manager to the service writer to the technician to the touch-up paint, everything else. You can't miss any steps. And if you hold people accountable, it will work.
The only way you're going to hold them accountable is to track it.
That is correct.
You have to have a tool, whether it's my tool, that's in it. You have to track every piece of the puzzle so you know where to focus your time.
That is correct.
Correct.
Sarah, here we are seeing tracking and measurement as another important facet in our dealerships, and I know you're very familiar with that on the retail side as well.
Data is so important, and the processes that go into the data are so important. And this is a really great solution to help you figure out where some of those holes can develop in the process and how to go about fixing them when you do have things that you need to address.
And Brad, I'll give you the last word on this. We've seen in the last 18 months to 24 months such an importance on those used vehicles as the market continues to fluctuate. Is reconditioning going to remain at the forefront, at the top? Because there's such a focus on it right now that I've never seen before.
There's I don't have a crystal ball, but it's always been important since the Model T, right? I mean, it's been a consistent process, consistent problem. I think the focus that you're seeing now is there's analytics to show you why it's so important. Before it was this made up number,
Right.
And now you're able to put tools in place that can show you exactly the profit that you're losing each and every day from the holding cost and the loss of production. And so, to fix it, you got to first and foremost decide you have a problem. And that's what people don't do today. They think they have a problem. You have to decide you have a problem. You have to put a stake in the ground and say, today is the day we're going to make an effort. And the accountability piece comes in after that. And then it's just leadership, right? I mean, technology doesn't fix anything. It's good leadership. And this tool or any tool that you back and support and implement and then monitor makes a big change.
Sure does.
Everybody, Brad Schaefer from Recontract here with us today at the pop-up at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Don't go away. We have a lot more ahead at the event.
The Fixed Ops Roundtable Certified Program is designed to help preferred dealers and partners with powerful tools and resources.
Learn more at fixedopsroundtablecertified.com.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Michelle McLean. We have a couple wonderful women on this panel today. We're excited to be asking them some questions about some of their experiences being women in automotive. Michelle, isn't this exciting to have some other fellow female entrepreneurs and women that have been in the industry?
It absolutely is. And we so rarely get to see people from the DMS side. So we're super excited to welcome these incredible women from Reynolds and Reynolds. Ladies, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell our audience a little bit about who you are, what you do at Reynolds and Reynolds, and why you love our automotive industry, maybe what got you into this industry to begin with.
Great. We'll start. I'm Diane Pernitza. I'm a regional sales director for our enterprise groups at Reynolds and Reynolds. And I've been with the company for 18 years now. I actually started in automotive right out of college with Ford Credit. So I have a pretty good Ford background. I've been at the Ford Parts and Service event here on several occasions. And after I left Ford Credit, I was actually given an opportunity through a synergies program where Ford Division and Ford Credit shared talent between each other. And I was oftentimes, being in the right place and at the right time is good for you, whether you're a man or a woman. And in that case, I was up against a man and I won the position over into Ford Division, and I became a zone manager with Ford Division. And I stayed with Ford for several years before I left and actually did a stint in retail doing F&I, which is very eye-opening just to have the retail experience. And then after that, I I'd gotten married and I had my son. I took a little time off and I came back to work with Reynolds and Reynolds, and I've been with them ever since.
And my name is Danielle DeConning. I'm also with Reynolds and Reynolds. I'm the account manager here in Central Florida, and I've been with the company about 7 years now. Coming out of college, I studied business, and you come out of college as a business major and the world is your oyster, right? It's like if you go to school for nursing, you come out, you're a nurse. You go to school for business, you come out, and maybe you don't know exactly what you want to do. I did know that being from upstate New York, I wanted to leave the cold. So I got myself down to Florida actually by working for Disney. And as magical as that was, I decided that a career in sales was what I wanted to pursue. And in my, applying through online applications, Reynolds and Reynolds was one of the companies that I applied to 7 years ago now. And I was really impressed by the amount that they invested in their employees, specifically for the sales training program. So that's what got me started in my sales career with Reynolds. And of course, that is how I got into the automotive retail space as well.
Diane, it's been so exciting to see some of the developments that women have had in the industry in more recent years. You know, I remember when I got started, sometimes you'd look in a showroom and there wouldn't be another woman sales consultant or service advisor. So tell us, Diane, in your career, what have you seen that's been so impactful to some of your success?
Well, I started in 1996, and a lot has changed since then to now. And I've seen things from both the OEM perspective, the retail side of things, and now working with the vendor as a DMS provider. I have seen so many changes, honestly, over that many years for women, especially. I think in the beginning, there were fewer of us in certain positions. On the finance side of things, women have had a footprint for quite a while. But when you started getting a little higher up in the management positions, there was definitely a lack of female presence, back when you talk about the late 90s. But it started to pivot around that time, honestly. And I think right now, more than ever, is a fantastic time for women to be in the automotive industry. And, once you kind of get your foot in the door, you never want to leave because it's a very fun industry to work in. It's never, we always say, never a dull moment. There's never a dull moment in this industry. And right now, one of the most exciting things that I'm seeing is that female technicians are showing up on more regularity in all of our dealerships. And I work with some large dealer groups that encourage that by working with certain trade schools to promote, especially at-risk youth, and right now with a focus on women, getting them into these positions that have typically been male-centered. And we are now seeing more female technicians, and they're doing fantastic. And it's just it's a foot in the door to something that can lead to management positions later on, and just something where women haven't typically had much presence. So it's very exciting to see that. I suppose it's similar to the way that we're seeing more men in nursing. That it's good to just kind of get a lot of diversity in every industry. So it's a good time now for women to consider roles in automotive, and it's certainly a more flexible industry than it used to be.
Danielle, you touched on some of the ways that Reynolds and Reynolds has really impacted your career. Tell us, what has really been an example of a time where they have helped you succeed?
Definitely. I think that a big proponent of success outside of the company specifically is who you're able to surround yourself with and who you work with. So I would say that my direct leadership team has provided me with amazing opportunities to be successful, as well as the opportunity to participate in events like this and meet women like yourselves that definitely can, help me advance my career. And just generally speaking, I would say, for women or men to never let an immutable characteristic determine or be the leading, factor as to what you want to pursue in life, and that women can be successful in any area of the automotive business.
Write that down. That's going to be a famous quote. Diane, this has been so exciting to see all of the progress that we've been making. You touched on so many different points with technicians and all the different facets that women have opportunities in automotive. What would be your one tip if you could leave women with? How could they get their foot in the door, continue to move up?
I think that whatever you put your mind to, you should give it 100% of what you have. And so if you take a position, and if you're coming out of school, you're not in your dream job typically, you have some stepping stones to get there. And those stepping stones are very important to give you even the opportunity to get to that dream job. So when you have your foot in the door and you are able to show what you're made of, and find people that are good mentors. I know that when I got to the position that I'm in now, where I have the opportunity to mentor newer women coming in out of college into Reynolds and Reynolds and into the sales field, I take that opportunity to help them, kind of show them the ropes, a little bit of things that will help them, go through the process a little bit easier and avoid some of the pitfalls that you can make when you're new to business. So I really do believe that the people, and it wasn't always women that were available to mentor me. I mean, one of my best mentors is standing out here right now, and it's a guy.
Thank you.
And they were really wonderful and always treated me, and wonderfully, gave me a lot of opportunities to continue to move forward and advance my career. So definitely finding people that you can surround, that you can learn from, and who encourage you to, move forward and be your best.
Danielle, if you had to give a tip to women as they're considering getting into the automotive industry on the vendor partner side or the dealership, what would be your advice?
Sure. My advice would be that in every situation in life, there are going to be advantages and disadvantages to you personally, and that no matter what career path you want to take, lean into your advantages, work hard, and those two things paired together will lead to success.
Michelle, I think this has been a really awesome panel discussion. Any final thoughts?
Well, we're just so excited to have Reynolds and Reynolds represented here on the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We wish you the best of success, and we're super excited, as always, to bring more females into this industry, especially, right, Sarah, on the fixed ops side of things. And as these wonderful ladies said, we're seeing so much of that now moving forward. Diversity, inclusion, and so many things that we're so proud of here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. And we're just so grateful that you guys were here today. So thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Michelle, Danielle, Diane, on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, thank you so much for being on this panel today. Don't go away. We have more coming up on the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Stay tuned.
Our revolutionary pop-up events have sparked a new wave of growth and innovation.
Become part of the brand that is shaping retail fixed operations at fixedopsroundtablecertified.com. Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. We have Rob Leary here with BG Products, the exclusive sponsor of the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Rob, thank you. Thanks, Ted. Thanks, Sarah.
Great to have you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So, BG Products is the exclusive sponsor of these pop-up events. We're very grateful to you and for Team One BG, okay?
Yeah.
For what you do for our industry.
Well, thank you. What you do for our industry, like I always said, you made the fixed ops the new front door to the dealership, right?
You know, I haven't seen you in a while with all that's gone on with all the virtual stuff that I did.
Yeah.
You know, we did the first couple events together.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So I got to ask you, I was just at BG Products. I had a chance to spend a couple days there with the team. Very impressive, by the way.
No, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. It's a wonderful facility. I mean, with all the technology driven there, it's pretty amazing.
And you've got a number of facilities. One of them is 30 miles away in that El Dorado campus. Amazing, the warehousing and the packaging and how you put it all together.
Yeah, it's so clean you can eat off the floor.
You can eat off the
Yeah, literally.
Amazing. So, all right, bring us up to speed because as you know and as Sarah knows, a lot of changes happening in our industry.
Yeah.
One of the questions that I had when I came up there to BG was, okay, EVs are coming. We're all aware of that. You know, it's kind of the question that a lot of folks may not want to talk about, but how are EVs going to affect what's happening at the new car dealerships around the country and how that's going to affect BG Products?
Yeah, I mean, it really is the elephant in the room. You don't really see it talked about. You see automotive news, you read all the articles about EV and everything, and it's great. But the reality is that the EV market is going to be a slow take, right? In the next 30 years, EVs will overtake the combustion engine. We all know that's going to happen, but it's going to be a long, slow process. And I start looking at the complexity of the EV market and relative to the ICE engine, as we like to call it. And there's so much growth opportunity. Just as an example, NADA just put out a study actually back in 2021, and it stated that we did $689 billion in service and repair maintenance business in the industry, right? That means dealer, independent, mass merchandiser, et cetera. In the next 5 years, we expect that's going to grow to $950 billion. So when you think about that from a perspective and you look at the EV market and, oh, woe is the EV to the parts and service side, the reality is it's not going to have an impact for a long, long time. And the growth opportunities are huge and immense for our industry. Example. So I look at AutoZone, right? AutoZone is a huge parts supplier, right? So their stock today and pre-pandemic, I think it was trading at like $1,200, which is a lot for a stock, $1,200 per share. Today, I just looked at the stock market, over $2,500. So for a business that appears to be going by the wayside, it's not going anywhere, right? It's nothing but going up. And a lot of room.
I know that BG is preparing because I had a chance to see a lot of the things they have coming. Very impressed with all the technology you've also got in place at BG.
Yeah. And I think that's what's going to, hold us as a company together is all of our technology, all of our new products, whether it be EV or ICE engine, it doesn't matter. BG will be there for the long term, for the future, for our dealers, for our distributors, and of course, the consumer.
I know there are some big growth initiatives coming from BG.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe some you can and some you can't talk about. I don't know. Anything you want to share with the audience?
I think we kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit with our distributors and all of our reps. I think it's worthwhile saying. So we entered into a pilot program with General Motors. And OEMs notoriously have not, quite frankly, played friendly with us yet in the preventative maintenance space, but they saw the need for, especially when you start to look at these smaller engines, right? You get the GDI engines and difficulty with the fuel problems that they're having. They were looking for a partner to have that could actually solve a lot of their GDI engine problems. So we've been working with them for about probably the past 5 years, and finally we came to an agreement, and now we are going to be the provider for fuel services for General Motors. We will co-brand it under AC Delco and BG brands. We will supply that to all GM dealers, so that will give us an opportunity to capture, if you will, and capitalize on all General Motors dealers. Right now, we got about 53% of the total dealer market, 23% of the units.
Wait, say that number again. 50 what?
53%
of the dealer market.
Of the dealer market. Every
products.
manufacturer, every franchise, and BG products. Yeah,
Nobody can say that.
No, and it really is our distribution channel, our distributors that make up over 800 reps, literally calling on our dealerships week in and week out. It's what makes the
the 53% possible. But beyond that, when we look at that, we believe we can double our growth. And just in the General Motors side of the business, and then we think that will yield itself to, now I'm here talking at a Ford program, so I apologize, guys, but the reality is Ford has the same problems. They got GDI engines, they have the same fuel issue problems. Every vehicle out there has a lot of these problems and more. But that's our first entree in, and we think it's going to be a fantastic partnership with General Motors, and we're super excited about it.
Rob, congratulations on General Motors. I know it's been in the works for some time.
Yeah.
That's going to be an explosive growth opportunity for BG and for General Motors dealers as well. So congratulations to you. BG truly is, I've heard the phrase, partners beyond products.
Yes, we are. Thank you very much, Tim.
So, Rob, grateful to you at all
Thank
BG
you.
does for our industry. Sarah?
Good to see you again.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah. Everybody, Rob Leary with BG Products, Partners Beyond Products, here today at the third pop-up event at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Stay with us.
The Clean Air Car Care campaign is BG's green initiative designed to promote the BG Platinum Fuel System service, which has been proven to reduce harmful emissions. Additional services featured in the campaign include the BG Platinum 44K service, which restores fuel economy, and the BG Climate Control service that will refresh the air inside your customers' vehicles. Advisors can match the service with the customer's biggest concern. Is it performance and fuel economy? Is it the environment and emissions? Or is it the air quality inside their vehicle? The services offered with the Clean Air Car Care campaign will provide your customers with clean air both inside and outside of their vehicles. Talk to your BG distributor about how to sell more services with BG Clean Air Car Care.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ames. Ted, we have a special guest here, Sean Leibold, and some exciting things to announce.
Yep. Sarah, we're very grateful to Reynolds and Reynolds for their support of the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Want to welcome Sean Leibold, the Director of Industry Relations. Sean, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So, Sean, we recently at the Roundtable have created a retail advisory board, and of which everybody up here is on that board. And I want to come to Ed Roberts, if I can first. Ed, we've got a lot of partners, we've got a lot of dealers involved with the Roundtable. Why have a retail advisory board at this time?
Well, a lot of times we sit in our offices and we look out and say, okay, if they had this tool out there, they can make this happen with it. We put something together that the industry doesn't embrace. Well, reality is we don't bring the end user in or the one that brings that to life. And when we bring them in and let us know what they have front line, then we can adapt from that and go forward. So I appreciate you guys being a part of that.
No, appreciate that.
Tell it.
I think that having great vendors is great partners, and partners make your store successful. You know, and having this advisory board is great to have great partners help us and help our dealers be more successful. Making sure we have the right people on that advisory board, making sure we make sure that people know about what they can do for your store, to me, is so huge.
So, Sean, I got to tell you a funny story. I've told it several times. Last summer, I had a phone call on my cell phone from an unknown number. It was in Ohio, okay? And I picked up the call, and it's a gentleman named Chris Walsh, okay? Sarah, I did not know who Chris Walsh was at the time. And he says, Ted, I'm interested in speaking at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. And I'm with Reynolds and Reynolds. I said, excellent. What do you do? Okay. And he told me I'm the president of Reynolds and Reynolds. And this is a true story. And I said, well, I know Reynolds is composed of many different brands. And so I go, which part of Reynolds? He said, Ted, I'm the president of Reynolds and Reynolds. I want to speak on the roundtable. And Sean, we had never had Reynolds on before. So Chris came on. Ed, you were a big part of that segment because one of the things, Sean, I thought was important was that a seasoned Reynolds dealer be able to ask some questions as well. Ed, you and I enjoyed that segment with Chris as well.
Absolutely. And Reynolds is changing the way they do business. And like Tully said, they want to become more of that partner rather than just being a vendor. And it's very much welcomed.
No, we appreciate it. And sorry you got Sean Leibold today, not Chris Walsh, but Chris and his executive team is one of the biggest reasons that I'm currently in this position. And really, I'll go back to your comment when you talk about vendors and partners. It really is about the partnerships. We have a huge belief now that is extending throughout the organization where Chris he's really pushed down hard on our organization to wake up every single day and want to help the dealers some way, somehow. So that's our mission at Reynolds.
I tell you, that having that philosophy is what makes a great partner, and that's what makes really what the Certified is all about. Is those kind of vendors make a difference for us at dealerships.
I agree. Yep,
and makes it easier for us to do business.
It really does. I think when we can all collaboratively work together and just kind of find those common places that you guys are struggling with certain issues, then we can all come to standards and do some things that make sense for the dealer.
Especially when it's a DMS. See, now you got one voice, right?
Yeah. And Sean, your role as Director of Industry Relations, take us through that a little bit of what you do at the Reynolds Company.
Yeah, so some of my primary focus is doing things just like this, is to support the industry associations, the industry initiatives, making sure that we're not only financially assisting in some of these, but also, as subject matter experts, where we can do workshops, like we're going to do a couple here while we're here. Supporting our ADAs, developing tighter relationships within ADA, and influencers in the marketplace like yourself. So it's one of my big roles.
So Ed, I know you've got a great relationship with Reynolds and Reynolds at Bozard Ford Lincoln. Reynolds has become a part of the event, Sean, that now we've recently had Go Moto on several times on our roundtables. And what I thought was so unique, some things that I did not know about Go Moto, they have a Spanish language option that enables write-up. And we had some of the best dealers in the country talking about how they utilize that as well. Recontract, okay? And having some of the dealers and managers who are using that product on the roundtable as well. Proton Dealership IT. Right now, everything going on with the Safeguards Act and with compliance. Tully, you were one of the first people to point that out to me, that we really got to get on this safeguards thing, maybe even a year ago. And now, even on the marketing, having the folks at Naked Line be a part of it.
Yep.
Sean, you've got a lot of these brands. How do you at Reynolds speak with a consistent message along the Fixed Ops platform?
I think you hit on four really good ones. There's a couple more, but we use the word agnostic right now pretty heavily. And I think it goes back to the story we're trying to also tell us, look, we want to try to help dealers fix problems, and we don't necessarily need them to be on our DMS. So we have these other solutions that if a dealer's got a problem and they're 2 years into a 5-year contract with one of our, competitors, well, at least maybe they can look into something like a Go Moto or Recon or Reverse Risk or something that can align to a need that they have that maybe that their current provider doesn't have. And once again, it's just the ecosystem working together to come solve these problems.
So everybody, one of the things the Retail Advisory Board is going to be doing is going to be assisting in our certified process. Ed, you're a certified dealer now with the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Tully, Nilo Company as well. Talk to us about the importance of certifying dealers as well and making sure that they have standards, so that it's not something that they can, just automatically become. We're looking at rolling it out and doing it in such a way that really reflects the excellence of the dealers, such as your groups as well.
It goes back to branding. There's 18,000 dealers out there, and everybody has a different baseline. When you got a baseline that standardizes where you're going from here, that gets you to a certification level, then it allows us something else to brand from.
I also think that, having standards from leaders in the industry helps make sure that we pick the right vendor having vendors that, start up and they've been in business for 3 months and the product isn't tested. The thing with Reynolds and Reynolds is that they've been around forever, and you look at their experience and are they having great relationships with their vendor partners? To me, that is most critical. And when you look at great vendors, it's part of the relationship that you have with your vendor is what's successful. So us having certified vendors that are committed to the dealership, to me, is number one.
And when they come out and find our pain points and go back and bring a product to market that helps us with it, then we all win.
Yep. No, that's a great point. And right, to Ed's point, take our feedback, not just Ed and Tully, but all of the great dealerships out there with great feedback. Because, there's some great ideas out there. And if vendors are open to feedback, the world changes. Yep.
And Sarah, I know you are a big part of bringing fixed ops to the forefront. As dealers continue to evolve and get more into the fixed op space, a lot of times, Sarah, dealers don't know one partner to another who's got the experience, who's good at what they do, and maybe not quite so good yet. So I think that's also important that we are looking at that as part of the program.
It is so important because really at the end of the day, and I think all of us are testament to that, but it's the relationships that you have with your partners that really set the difference between how your employees experience things and also your customers.
So Sean, we're very grateful to you and the team at Reynolds and Reynolds for your great support, and look forward to working with you and with Ed and with Sarah and with Tully as well.
Looking forward to it.
And looking forward to the workshops.
Nope, absolutely. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Reynolds and Reynolds, Sean Leibold here today as part of our Retail Advisory Board with Tully Williams, Ed Roberts, and Sarah Vantine. Don't go away. We have a lot coming up here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable pop-up event.
Signs. They tell you the road, places you're going, the promise that awaits. No matter where you go, when you see this sign, it means I take my car here and it runs better and lasts longer, guaranteed. It's a bold statement, but it's one that BG has proven over and over for more than 50 years. It all started when the founders of BG Products in Wichita, Kansas were looking for a breakthrough. They developed the first BG formula. Skeptics said it wouldn't work. Anyone who tried it knew that it did. Pour it in, and engine performance and life improved, just like that. But BG wasn't about to be contained to a can. What started in the engine spread to every working part of every kind of vehicle and to every part of the world. Because all BG products and services have one ingredient in common: innovation. Through cutting-edge research and development, state-of-the-art resources, and an unwavering commitment to quality, BG leads the way with proven solutions of real-world drivability problems. That's why, worldwide, professionals use BG products, services, tools, and equipment every day. And why every year professionals from around the world attend BG University, the most advanced client success program in the industry. And why everything BG does is proven to deliver customer satisfaction and retention. Today, customers don't just look for a shop, they look for a BG shop. What can take a product from the heart of America into the hearts and minds of car owners all over the world? This sign and what it means. Now, ask what BG means to you. Because BG works, worldwide.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Van Tyne here with Ted Ings, and we're excited to introduce David Reineke with Automotive Warranty Network.
David, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And by the way, very grateful to you and to announce that Automotive Warranty Network and David Reineke are going to be, Sarah, on our advisory board at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. We're very honored to be a part of it.
So right now, warranty is a huge and growing part of our industry. David, if you don't mind, we want to ask you a couple questions today about that. Tell us, at this time, why would dealers consider, rather than doing it all themselves, why would they consider a company like AWN, which, by the way, is the biggest in the industry, handling billions with a B dollars of transactions on behalf of dealers?
Yeah, so it's very important. I think a lot of people, some dealers still think there's this that anybody can submit a warranty claim, but it really takes a very skilled person to do it. Anybody can submit a claim and get it to pay, but ultimately we want to make sure it gets paid and that the dealership gets to keep that money in the event of an audit. So it's such a huge part. Our average client, submits about $200,000 a month in warranty, parts, and labor. So, that's, over $2 million a year on average. So, it's a very important thing. So you want to have the skilled person in there, making sure they're collecting your money properly and making sure you get to keep it because, that does get reviewed and it can be charged back in the event of an audit. So,
yeah, and, with a lot of the, personnel issues and lack of, for lack of a better term, people getting into our industry, I think what you're doing at AWN is very unique and key because also, folks don't call in sick. And those are receivables. Those are dollars. Every one of those are ours.
Yeah. So that's a big plus in why, dealerships and dealer groups come to our company because, just like you said, we don't take time off. So our people do take time off, but they never feel it. So we have a full department of people that cover, when they do go on vacation. So it's very seamless for the dealership. So there's no, calling in sick. There's no vacation time. You can expect for us to always be on and always be submitting claims. We also have train people. So it's not like you're getting somebody green that's learning for it on your dime or the dealership's dime. Every single one of our clients gets a skilled, trained warranty administrator who knows the brand, keeps up on the policies, keeps up on the changes, and they basically breathe that manufacturer. So we make sure that we can proficiently get that money collected for the dealership and make sure, again, they get to keep it. Another thing, we do monitor, earlier we talked about warranty schedules. We do monitor that on a weekly basis to make sure that money is getting collected timely. So that's a big tool to make sure that nothing's falling through the cracks. So we like to be able to submit that to the dealership and show them that everything's current. There's nothing slipping in that 30, 60, 90-day column. So we want to make sure that money gets paid and collected timely, and it's not at risk of not getting collected. So,
and Sarah, you have spent years in dealership as well. You and I both know that. It's maybe not the most glamorous position right now to be a warranty administrator in a store with a lot of the processing that has to go on the dealership level.
Oh, yes. It is so important. And how have you been able to help dealerships with more of those opportunities when there are challenges with warranty administration?
So we have a tool called CARS. It's basically an application that we developed to when we find discrepancies with warranty claims, we identify those discrepancies, help dealerships learn what it takes to resolve those discrepancies. But more importantly, we report on those discrepancies so that we can help train service personnel on what's needed to prevent those discrepancies from happening in the future. So it's a really good way for us to help educate the dealership on what's required to have a really clean process all the way through.
And you mentioned earlier also the audits that you do at AWN that's very proactive, to be able to look at a snapshot of, I'm going to guess maybe 100 ROs. I don't know exactly what number you pull, but to be able to help dealers. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so basically we pull up whatever the scope work is they like. So it depends on the volume of the store. Sometimes 20 ROs might be sufficient. Sometimes, on a larger
scale. 100 ROs is what's best, but we do pull the ROs the same way the manufacturer would, and then we have an auditing department that can actually look at those audits. We have a piece of software that we developed that'll allow us to formulate an audit, and we put in there what the audit value is, what the potential chargeback amount would be if that was a real audit. And it's a really good way for a dealership to see where they're at if the manufacturer were to come in today without having it be a real financial impact. So.
And I know Automotive Warranty Network, you're constantly working on new things. What's new and up and coming? What should we be aware of that you're working on at AWN?
So we're always using technology and software to better the process. So, we're constantly making new reports, new ways to help a dealership be more efficient. And in general, just really working to have the very best people, the very best training that we can. Like I mentioned, we have highly skilled, trained warranty administrators. We're very proud of that talent that we have. And so, yeah.
Yeah, you do this every day, and you're the biggest, and you handle all those dollars in warranty. So very grateful to have you and the organization part of the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you.
And to be on the advisory board. And Sarah, that speaks volumes for a company like AWN to have them involved with us.
Oh, yeah. So this is so exciting to have you part of this, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
David Warnicki, everybody, from Automotive Warranty Network, here at the pop-up event at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Stay with us. We have a whole lot more coming up.
Step 1. Verify the service selector is in the off position. Step 2. Connect shop air to the machine. Step 3. Connect appropriate size wand to the extractor. Trim the wand to size as needed. Tip. A shorter wand with a larger diameter will speed up the service. Step 4. Turn the service selector to remove. Step 5. Insert extractor wand into the component port on the vehicle and open the ball valve on the extractor to start removing fluid. Step 6. Once all the fluid has been removed, close the ball valve on the extractor and remove the wand from the component. Step 7. Turn the service selector to off. Step 1. Verify the service selector is in the off position. Step 2. Connect shop air to the machine. Step 3. Raise the draw tube by lifting up on the knob located on the top of the machine. Place appropriate new fluid container for the component being serviced onto the mat and lower the draw tube into the container. Step 4. Connect appropriate size wand to the dispenser. Step 5. Insert the dispenser wand into the component port on the vehicle and turn the service selector to add. Step 6. Pull the trigger on the dispenser to start filling the vehicle. When the desired amount of fluid has been added, release the trigger and remove the wand from the component. Step 7. Turn the service selector to off. Step 1. Verify the service selector is in the off position and the ball valve on the end of the extractor is closed. Step 2. Connect shop air to the machine. Step 3. Place and secure the extractor wand into a suitable waste container. Step 4. Turn the service selector to empty. Step 5. slowly open the ball valve on the extractor. Step 6. When the used fluid tank is empty, close the ball valve on the extractor. Turn the service selector to the off position and remove the wand.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. We have our special guest, Corey Kohler, along with Sean Kingery and Tully Williams.
Everybody, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Corey, on behalf of Go Moto, great honor to have you with us today.
Pleasure to be here today. Thank you.
You know, Corey, Tully Williams always talks to us about the importance of time and the hours. And Tully, you know, one of the things that kiosks can help us do at the dealership is help save us some time, and talk to us a little bit more about that.
You know, you think about this in the morning where you have 100 appointments coming in. You can scatter them out, but what happens? They all show up at 7. And I think what we see here is that people are comfortable using kiosks. As restaurants and stores have designed kiosks and people are familiar with them, why haven't we brought that in for our dealerships? And think about when you're looking at a quick lane or a quick lube where you have a lot of maintenance, where it's standard. What happens? Instantaneously, all menus are displayed. But we're making it easy for the customer to say yes and get them in and out quickly. Kiosks can really help drive those hours and drive that traffic in. And guess what? Get it to the technician so they can do an inspection, make those recommendations we tell our family members.
Sean, your thoughts on kiosks helping us get off on the right foot?
You know, it's all about the time. It is all about, it's about scheduling what's convenient for the client and not what's convenient for us. With pickup and delivery, and with after hours pickup and before hours pickup. Listen, customers can't come in from 7 to 5 every day. It doesn't work. It has to work what works for them and not what works for us.
Corey, you're on the front lines with Go Moto. What are you seeing?
For sure. So the ability to kind of offload some of that work is definitely important. The other thing that we find is that there are a lot of the tasks that advisors have to do, things like getting the right phone number and the right email and, asking if you want wipers and things that fall in that line. And the kiosk does that consistently, right? It asks it every time because it doesn't have a bad day. It always shows up. The other thing that we found is it's really helpful in generating interest from the sales side of things, right? So a number of our customers have experienced a lot of success because it's a very soft sell for a consumer to ask if they want a valuation on a vehicle. To be able to very softly say, hey, we'd like to get an evaluation of your car, and we'd be more than happy to do it while it's in for service. So a number of different areas that it falls into play. The other piece that's really key is it's meeting consumers on what their desires are, right? You think about an omni-channel presence, right? I can go and I can talk to a person, or I can go to a kiosk, much like what we're seeing in a lot of the other retail spaces.
And Corey, I learned from Go Moto on the Fixed Ops Roundtable the importance of how that trade evaluation is a big part of the service process and how Go Moto includes that. Kiosks also help the service advisors save time throughout the day. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So, you think about going to the doctor, right? The doctor doesn't come in and get your height and your weight and, take your blood pressure and all those things. Those are all kind of the standards that have to happen, but really the magic is when the doctor comes in and he looks over everything and says, here's what's wrong, right? And that's ultimately what we're trying to get to, is let's help offload a lot of those tasks that otherwise would have to be done by the tech or by the advisor, and kind of load them up a little bit further in the process so that we're able to spend the time at really looking at the vehicle and identifying items that need to have additional attention taken on them.
Sean, your thoughts about saving the service advisors some time?
Listen, it's all about time. It's, again, how much more time they get. It's freeing up the phone calls. It's freeing up, again, we'll call it the incidental side of it, the pre-check, all that small stuff. First of all the boxes got to be checked. Otherwise, you can't communicate. You can't track, okay? Tully and I have been on a few of these panels with Go Moto before. And by the way, Go Moto doesn't call in sick. It doesn't. It's always there. But it gets those out of the way so the advisor's free to sell hours.
Absolutely. Sean, I was impressed. You were on that panel that we had on the Spanish language option at Go Moto earlier this year. And a number of dealers who are using that with great success. Another thing that I don't think many people in the audience were aware of, that the kiosk at Go Moto offers all these additional things.
It does. And I was unaware of it at the time until we had the panel that it was bilingual. And this year at NADA in Dallas, Texas, we were talking about the pickup and delivery and the advantage that Ford's offering now. And as far as money, They literally programmed that question on the fly. Sitting at the Go Moto kiosk, they programmed it, and boom, it was up and running. It was a question: would you like us to deliver your vehicles? I can make money on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, Sarah, you've seen it as well in retail, that the customer's schedule, their life schedule for dropping off the car, does not always match up with the shop schedule, and how that is such an important part of the aspect in scheduling at the dealership as well.
It truly is. You're giving the customer so many more options to choose what works best for them. Some people are going to want to talk to a person. Other people, they don't need all that, and they want to be able to have that flexibility to do things on their terms.
Tully, what do you think?
I think that's awesome, because you think about when your driveway is lined up, you are 5-10 cars deep, right? A customer pulls in, and what do they think? Oh, this is a nightmare. But you know what? That person can do what? Get out of the car, walk up to the kiosk. I'm just here for my next service. You chop a couple buttons, guess what happens? A menu pops up. They select the menu. We ask if they want a valuation of their car. It falls into the parameter. This is all happening in seconds. And then they hit yes, they sign, and off they go. What more can we ask for instead of that customer waiting maybe an hour, 30 minutes to an hour, where this person is irritated? Now this person is like, wow, that was easy, right? And then what happens when they say they're easy? They buy recommendations that our technicians are recommending. This is what's going to help us drive that repeat and referral business. If your store is a cluster in the morning, this can help you get out of that cluster.
And Tully, I think more and more customers, like you mentioned earlier, are familiar. They use kiosks in other parts of their life. So why not at the dealership?
Correct. If you go into a restaurant that it has a walk-up, do you want to talk to the person or do you want to talk to a kiosk? I'm going to the kiosk, right? I mean, everybody does DoorDash, right? DoorDash is a kiosk. Now they have them at the restaurants. Why would we not that one at the dealership? Why are we making sure that everybody has an option to do what they want? If someone wants to sit at a desk and talk to them, perfect, we'll do that. If someone wants to get in and out quick because they're comfortable with it, absolutely. That is what we're trying to do. Just trying to drive repeat referral business and make people happy in the service drive.
Well, and even to expand on that, it's not even the service drive. It's also in mobile. So one of the features that we have built within Go Moto is the ability to do a mobile check-in beforehand. So very much like what you said, where customers are comfortable on their devices, they're able to go through all the same things that they do with the kiosk process. And really, it's just that last, kind of coming through and making sure that they're there at the dealership. So it's meeting that technology where, really where they expect it. The other thing that I really think is helpful is that it helps eliminate a lot of that communication, like the breakdown that happens from the customer to the advisor and ultimately the technician.
Your thought, Sean King?
Well, we talked about it earlier that the incidentals you have to do, it hits it every single time. It gets the phone number. It gets the email address. It gets the best method of communication. How do they want to be contacted? Is it text message? Is it phone call? Is it email? It never misses. It's consistent every time, 100% of the time.
Absolutely. Corey, talk to us about the importance of that consistency, because a service advisor who works with 8, 10, or more customers per day, as the day goes on, that consistency can lag and fall behind. Talk to us importance about that.
Studies have shown that we're most productive first thing in the morning, and then it starts dropping off after that, right? So this helps deliver a consistent experience, whether it's 10 o'clock in the morning, whether it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right? It's always kind of that same cadence and that same pattern that the consumers become used to whenever they're checking into the store or even checking out after hours.
Sarah, isn't this exciting to see all these new technologies and trends and how they continue to evolve in our industry?
It's just making the customer experience so much more diverse. You have so many different options for people, and that's what people want. They want to choose what works for them. And Corey, congratulations and thank you for being part of this, because it's really exciting to see what Go Moto is doing in our industry for that.
For sure. So very grateful to you, Corey, at Go Moto, changing the landscape of retail fixed operations. And you know what? You continue to evolve, and it gets better and better with more applications as time goes on.
Yeah, certainly. We've been continuing to kind of push that envelope from a technology standpoint. So adding, the ability to do before and after hours, key drop and key return. I mean, I think about, I started almost 20 years ago in service. You guys were talking earlier as a service porter, right? Moved up to advisor and moved over to the dealer services provider side of things. But I think about like how we used to do it, where we left the keys with the cashier, or we locked them in the car, or, some of the things that we would do just out of necessity, where now we're able to incorporate that in, or even the drop box, right? We have a key drop box and it works just great, but a lot of times you lose a lot of stuff in translation that happens through either of those sides of things. So it's really exciting to see where the technology is going and what we're able to help deliver to dealerships to be able to deliver to their consumers.
Everybody, Corey Kohler with us today from Go Moto here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, along with Sean Kingery and Tully Williams. Stay with us. We have a lot more coming up at our pop-up event at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Van Tyne here with Ted Ings, and we are excited to be discussing Ed Roberts' new book. Ed, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Glad to talk about it. It's been a process and nearing the end of the journey.
Well, Ed, we're very grateful to all that you do for our industry. I got to ask you, what prompted you to write the book?
That's actually a long story, but I'll keep it short. People's been telling me for about 20 years that you should write a book, Ed. And I thought, there's no way that this guy will write a book. It just didn't seem like it was something in my wheelhouse. But about 10 years ago, I started writing notes down. I said, if I ever retire and decide that I want to put something together, or at least have some notes to reflect back on. And late last year, or actually middle of last year, kind of got pushed over that edge a little bit by a couple different things that's happened. And so it's time to write a book. And so I took those notes and turned it into a 13-chapter book, really breaking down what allows us to be effective leaders. And I wrote it in a format that it doesn't necessarily just tie to the automotive industry, because in any industry, it's all about people and developing our people and allowing them to see that they're capable of more than what they've done. And so hopefully it'll become a little more widespread than just automotive.
But it sounds like you've been working on it for quite some time. What prompted you to write this now and publish it now?
I always say that there's no time like the present. And finally I had to look in the mirror a bit on that, because that's something I've put off for quite some time, been pressured for quite some time. And I was listening to a friend of mine's book late last year, and I said, you know what? It's time for me to do it. So I picked up the phone, pushed pause, picked up the phone, called the author of that book and says, you've inspired me to write my book. So here we go.
I know you and I have always shared stories. You always have a lot of examples and stories to tell. I'm sure you've included a couple of those in the book. Anyone that you'd like to share with us today?
There is a few stories in there, certainly. I'm going to leave the audience in suspense on those stories, but I will certainly tell the audience that you can do whatever you put your mind to. I came from very humble beginnings and was told no several times trying to get into any industry, and then finally got an opportunity. And it has been a whirlwind since. And I've been blessed. And truly what it is, Ted, is bringing attitude and effort every single day. And those are two things that we control without any other influence.
This is so exciting, and I know a lot of people are going to be eager to read it. How do you hope that this book is going to be able to help others?
I hope those people can, as they read the book, can connect with it and find a way to, if they can just pull something. There's 13 chapters. If they can pull something out of one of them and make them better humans, then we've all won. And it's not that we all win, it's their team wins as well.
Ed Roberts is all about helping others in an industry, helping others grow, helping them succeed. Everybody, we highly recommend a copy of the book, Ed Roberts. Ed, congratulations to you on all your success and all that continues going forward.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Ed.
Yes.
Ed Roberts with us, everybody. Don't go away. We have a lot more coming up at the third pop-up event here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.